Hi everyone. In today's lecture, I'm going to discuss about the refugees and their protection. कौन सी वो इंटरनेशनल एजेंसी थी जो फॉर्म आउट की गई इन ऑर्डर टू प्रोटेक्ट द रिफ्यूजी। मैंने पहले पार्ट में रिफ्यूजी की डेफिनेशन, रिफ्यूजी के वो राइट्स डिस्क्राइब किए गए, कौन से लॉज थे जो रिफ्यूजी को सपोर्ट करते थे, दैट हैज बीन डिस्कस इन द पार्ट 1. यू कैन चेक आउट फॉर दैट थिंग. Now in today's lecture we will going to discuss on its international agency, rights, obligations and what are the reason of being getting in this category और क्या इसका solution है refugee towards. We will discuss in this lecture. So let's begin. Refugees are those people who leave their states in which they have permanent residence to escape persecution or military action. वी ऑल नो कि रिफ्यूजी वो लोग होते हैं जिन्हें अपनी कंट्री छोड़नी पड़ती है, अपना परमानेंट रेजिडेंस से जाना पड़ता है, छोड़ना पड़ता है, निकलना पड़ता है अपनी उस कंट्री से इन ऑर्डर टू सेव देमसेल्फ, इन ऑर्डर टू मेक देयर human life in dignified or to just have a protection towards their life and their own ones. So Article 1 कन्वेंशन रिलेटिंग टू द स्टेटस ऑफ रिफ्यूजी में बताया गया कि रिफ्यूजी किन्हें कहा जाएगा. व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस गोइंग टू बी इन बिटवीन रिफ्यूजी, असाइलम सीकर, माइग्रेशन, इंटर डिस्प्लेस्ड पीपल. इट गोइंग टू बी इन डिटेल. सो आर्टिकल 1 में बताया गया कि एनी पर्सन हु ओइंग टू वेल फाउंडेड फियर ऑफ बीइंग परसिक्यूटेड फॉर रीजन ऑफ रेस, नेशनलिटी, membership of a particular social group is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of the country, or who do not having a nationality and being outside the country of his former habitual residence as a result of such event is unable or owing to such fear is unwilling to return to it, going to be considered refugee. और यही सिमिलर डेफिनेशन आर्टिकल 6A के 1 और 2 पार्ट में UNHCR में डिफाइन की गई. पीटर नोबल ने कहा कि रिफ्यूजी लॉ को ह्यूमन राइट लॉ से इंसेपरेबल नहीं किया जा सकता, एज दे आर इनएक्सट्रिकेबल लिंक्ड बिकॉज दे हैव. पीटर नोबल सेड इट कि आर्टिकल 41 में UDHR में कहा गया है कि दैट एवरीवन हैज अ राइट टू सीक एंड एंजॉय इन अदर कंट्रीज असाइलम फ्रॉम परसिक्यूशन. सो रिफ्यूजी लॉ सब्स्टिट्यूट प्रोटेक्शन है. अगर प्रोटेक्शन नहीं मिलती, नेशनल प्रोटेक्शन नहीं मिलती है, तो international community going to be responsible and refugee can seek protection of the international community. So it is not a new problem, it is old problem and is caused by fear of persecution, inhumanity of non-mass human right abuses, civil wars, internal strike, many factors that occur and that lead this issue. United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration, this was the first international agency that was established in the concern with the problem of refugees and displaced persons. It was created at a 44 nation conference at the White House on 9th November 1943. जब रिफ्यूजी जैसा फैक्टर, इशू, केसेस बढ़ते गए आफ्टर हिटलर्स असेशन टू पावर इन 1933, रिफ्यूजी जैसी प्रॉब्लम अकर होती गई एंड इट लीड टू दैट लेवल कि वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 के बाद टू रिप्रेट एंड असिस्ट द रिफ्यूजी हु वुड कम अंडर एलिट कंट्रोल. सो इट बिकेम पार्ट ऑफ UN in 1945. UNRRA UN का 1945 में पार्ट बना, स्पेशली एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट किया 1945 और 46 में, बट इट लार्जली शट डाउन ऑपरेशन इन 1947. इट्स पर्पस वाज टू plan, coordinate, administer, to arrange of the administration of measure for the relief of victims. तो कैसे coordinate करना है, कैसे administration measures use करने हैं जिससे कि relief कर सके victim of war in area under the control of any of the UN through the provision of food, fuel, clothing, shelter and other basic necessity, medicals and other essential services. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee was founded in 1950. जब UNRRA was shut down, then later in 1950 UNHCR was founded and began operating on 1st January 1951, taking over from the International Refugee Organization. UNHCR इस मैंडेट की कैसे लीड करना है, कोऑर्डिनेट करना है इंटरनेशनल एक्शन जिससे कि प्रोटेक्ट कर सके रिफ्यूजी को, कर सके रिफ्यूजी की प्रॉब्लम्स एंड इट्स प्राइमरी पर्पस इज टू सेफगार्ड द राइट्स एंड वेलबींग ऑफ रिफ्यूजीज. UNHCR's mandate has gradually been expanded to include protecting, providing humanitarian assistance to whom it described as other persons of concern, including internally displaced person. So, under the UN Convention relating to the status of refugees 1951 और उसी का प्रोटोकॉल 1967, ये दोनों कवर करते थे लीगल स्टेटस, रिफ्यूजी को डिफाइन और हाउ टू प्रोटेक्ट एंड व्हाट आर द राइट्स टू बी फॉलोड एंड द ऑब्लिगेशन दैट आर इम्पोज्ड ऑन द रिफ्यूजी. The 1969 Organization for African Unity Convention or some other treaty if they left their country but who presently remain in their country of origin. Antonio, Portuguese Prime Minister, former Portuguese Prime Minister, became the 10th UN High Commissioner for Refugee on 15th June 2005. अप्रैल में उनको दोबारा रीसेलेक्ट किया गया for this and General Assembly that was done by the General Assembly to a second 5-year term. UNHCR is a non-political and humanitarian and social in nature. This is word error. Humanitarian and social in nature है UNHCR and it provide protection of refugee by promoting conclusion and satisfaction of international instruments and overseeing कि कैसे execution और amendments करने हैं, special agreements जिससे कि improve कर सके refugee की situation, assisting private as well as government efforts कि promote हो सके voluntary repatriation and assimilation, admission of refugee to states, obtaining permission. All these are the functions that were totally on protection of refugees. High Commissioner of UNHCR is nominated by Secretary General but elected किया जाता है General Assembly और Executive Committee है of High Commissioner प्रोग्राम की जिसमें बजट UNHCR का ओवरसीज किया जाता है. तो मेन जॉब UNHCR का is protecting of refugee which is done through with the Refugee Convention and Protocol relating to the states of refugee 1967 में. Convention relating to the status of refugee is adopted in 1951 but 22nd April 1954 से ये force में आया. It sets some minimum standards of treatment of refugee by the government and also sets some obligation. These are the rights of refugee कि non discrimination होगा Article 3 में, उनको right to religion है Article 4, proclaim this right to marriage Article 12. These all are the rights of refugees. Economic and social rights कि they also have the right to earning and employment. किसी कंट्री में अगर दे आर शेल्टरिंग और दे आर ऑक्यूपाइंग so they have the right to wage earning employment, self-employment, liberal profession, rationing, housing, public education. All rights are belong to the refugee under the UNHCR. Right to administrative measures also provided to the refugee in order to protect them, in order to give some legality in the country where they are sheltering. Right to administrative assistance, Article 25 proclaim of the UNHCR, right to freedom of movement and residence, paper relating to identify papers, travel documents. All these are the articles which belong to the refugee. Along with these rights, refugee also have certain obligation which I have discussed in my previous part of the refugee. Article 2 of this convention provides कि every refugee has duties to the country in which he finds himself, which require in particular that he conform to its laws and regulation as well as measures taken for maintenance of public order. So what are the solution to refugee problems? यहाँ पर 3 solutions बताए गए जो refugee problem को tackle किया जा सकता है. First is that repatriation. Repatriation means कि refugee can return to one's country of origin without any pressure. ऐसा नहीं है जिस कंट्री में वो शेल्टर ले रहे हैं तो वो वहां से निकाले जाएंगे या उनको फोर्सफुली निकाला जाए. इट्स देयर ओन चॉइस, इट्स टोटली डिपेंड ऑन देम कि दे कैन रिटर्न और दे फील that there is no any risk of persecution in their own country, so they can return. Other may decide to return for political or family reasons. So these are the reasons. If they want to get return in their own country, then they can. Refugees should not be compelled to return to their countries of origin, nor should they be prevented from returning. This it proclaims. Local integration in the country of asylum is another solution open to refugees problem, but usually to developing states होती हैं, जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज होती हैं वो वेलकम नहीं करती हैं लार्ज नंबर ऑफ रिफ्यूजीज फॉर लोकल इंटीग्रेशन, जैसे बर्मा, अफगानी. ऑल दीज आर द रिफ्यूजीज, persecuted from their own country, and they just need some shelter to get protected from such kind of wars and disturbance which they are literally facing in their daily lives. Resettlement of third country और थर्ड कंट्री रीसेटलमेंट इज अ वाइटल इंटरनेशनल प्रोटेक्शन जो ड्यूरेबल सोल्यूशन है इस प्रॉब्लम का, एंड इट इज गियर टू द स्पेशल नीड्स ऑफ रिफ्यूजी हु lives like liberty and safety, health, other or fundamental human right is at risk in the country in which they sought refuge. So it is also considered a solution in particular circumstances for refugee who do not have immediate physical protection concern. और थर्ड कंट्री रीसेटलमेंट इन्वॉल्व करता है वो ट्रांसफर ऑफ रिफ्यूजी फ्रॉम द कंट्री जिसमें they sought refuge to another state and that harassed to admit these people. So they will usually be granted asylum or home other forms of long-term residence right. In many cases, they will also be given the opportunity to become naturalized citizen. So naturalized citizens भी बन सकते हैं वो refugee on some other circumstances by giving them the opportunity to be a citizen of that country. Judicial cases जो refugee से related हुए, that is in law they read it as Supreme Court held the Article 21 of the Constitution की life and liberty of aliens should be there, जो हमारे Article 21 में कहा जाता है. In अरुणाचल प्रदेश versus Chakuret was stated that Chakmas are foreigners and therefore not entitled to fundamental rights. These all are the cases regarding to the refugees that took into the court in order to have the protection and have some rights to be proclaimed by the constitution. And Dr. Malviya Karekar, it was held that Burmese nationals should not be deported. So this was all about refugees and the articles and the cases that involved regarding to the refugee in this lecture. Thank you so much for watching this video.